Good afternoon. An oral presentation by Marissa Joseph on workplace bullying. Is it a human resource silent epidemic? Workplace bullying is an act of repetitive, abusive behavior which devalues and oftentimes harms its targets. This is done through threatening, humiliation, intimidation, words, and gestures. It is a direct life sabotage and is disruptive to any organization. Often when we think about bullying, we picture the school child, and with the advent of the social media, we are all sensitized to the many acts of violence through bullying within our local and regional schools. We have also seen and heard reports of international horrors of small children being bullied at school. However, when we are on the playground or at the office car park or within the walls of the office space, this screams out to us that action
Workplace bullying
must
is a
be taken.
serious issue and it must be addressed. The work environment should be a place which fosters an exchanges ideas and dialogue. It should be a place of innovation and creativity. However, many times this is not the case, and employees are singled out due to their race, religion, socioeconomic status, sexual preferences, physical disabilities, physical features, gender, or simply because of their good work ethics. No longer facilitating the flow of information, the workplace becomes a prison, one where the freedom to think and the freedom to disagree is turned into the fear of retribution and payback. The bullied employee is psychologically, emotionally, and physically unable to continue to contribute
Workplace
to the
bullying is a serious
organization's
issue
growth, and it must be addressed. The work environment should be a place which fosters an exchanges ideas and dialogue. It should be a place of innovation and creativity. However, many times this is not the case, and employees are singled out due to their race, religion, socioeconomic status, sexual preferences, physical disabilities, physical features, gender, or simply because of their good work ethics. No longer facilitating the flow of information, the workplace becomes a prison, one where the freedom to think and the freedom to disagree is turned into the fear of retribution and payback. The bullied employee is psychologically, emotionally, and physically unable to continue to contribute to the organization's growth. The primary purpose of the human resource department within an organization is to protect the organization and to ensure that the work environment is conducive for work. It is necessary then that HR department not only understands about this growing epidemic, but that they address it for what it is, victimization. Far too often, the bullied employee feels victimized by both the bully and the human resource department. This helpless and frustrates the employee, and they too begin to devalue themselves and their abilities.
Based on a recent study done by Workplace Bullying Institute, 44% of bullied employees will lose their job due to rumors being spread about them. The statistics also suggest that bullies are often protected and that only 1.5% of them will ever lose their jobs. Andy Teach, host of the YouTube channel From Grad to Cop, says that there are also bullies who are bosses. These bullies, he states, are probably bullies at school and who will continue to push people around. to get their own way. They believe that using their power and their authority to victimize their colleagues and subordinates is okay. Many times, they are the final authority, and no one will stand up against them. Why is this a problem? It is important for HR to realize the frustration that it causes an employee. Everyone should be treated with dignity and respect at work. Bullying, like any other harassment, serves in no one's interests and should not be tolerated in the workplace. Ever wondered why there is such a high turnover in some companies, departments, units, and offices? When camaraderie and team spirit is evident, there is growth. When it is not, it demoralizes workers and causes the best of them to leave. A study done by the Workplace Bullying Institute further showed that anxiety, loss of concentration, and disruptive sleep were all factors affecting the respondents, while hypervigilance syndromes and stress-related headaches were also impacting their employees. Having a boss who is also a workplace bully can negatively affect an employee.
Human resource must act upon this social injustice. They must equip themselves with the tools that are needed, not only to be aware of this negative traumatic occurrence suffered by many of in the workplace, but also to correct the wrongs. It means that human resources must be responsive in looking for a solution. The strategy of protecting the bully, mainly out of fear of litigation, is not a valid reason to have another employee silently suffer. Human resources need to be responsive and not reactive. There is a price for incivility, as acts within the workplace can cause the organization much more in the long run.
In closing, workplace bullying can cause both the abused and the observers of the abuse to suffer from various illnesses, including nervousness and fear. This can lead to post-traumatic stress syndrome, depression, and other types of physical ailments. It can cause them to be unable to regulate their emotions, to concentrate, and to make simple decisions which will contribute to the growth and productivity of the organization.
HR can assist their victims by doing the following: creating a zero tolerance policy on workplace bullying, have clear outlines for investigating and resolving complaints, providing training, calling bullies to account for their actions, support your employees, offer programs such as the Employee Assistance Program, be open and listen, lead by example.
With any epidemic, workplace bullying needs to be contained. This can be done through education, mutual respect, policies and systems, dealing with the issues immediately, being committed to ensuring that problem is dealt with. So workplace bullying will not go away anytime soon, as it speaks to a wider issue. It is hoped that a call to return to a culture of politeness and mutual respect would be heard. Within the workplace, human resources need to stand up and against this fast-growing epidemic. It is not silent, it is just ignored. It is my hope that I've shared with you a small insight into the perceived silence by the Human Resource Department on growing epidemic of workplace bullying, that you would firstly examine yourself to ensure that you are not a workplace bully, and then you would stand up. Stand up and be counted, and take this important message back to your places of work, back to your human resource departments. Let us not be a part of the problem, but rather let us be a part of the solution. Thank you. Submitted by Marissa Joseph.